What is happening, guys, and welcome back to the channel. First things first, make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe if you're new. And today, myself and George are going to be discussing whether Chelsea can still win or challenge for the title if we go into next season with Timo Werner as the main man still. Obviously, the pursuit for Erling Haaland is ongoing. It's going to be a tough one to get over the line. So, George, if we were to miss out, how would you rate our chances on challenging with just Timo Werner as the main centre forward option, given he had a kind of a difficult first season?
I think if you're labeling it as challenging for the title, I think we've got enough capability within the squad to challenge. I think regardless of who's up front, because the front line's quite interchangeable from what we've got. I mean, you could play a few false nines in there. We know that the wingers, you can play Werner on the left. He doesn't have to play a number 9. I know you personally don't like it, but you have got the option of Tammy if he stays, who, did score quite a few, bear in mind it was, very early on in the season at that stage and he didn't really plug on from there. But challenging, I certainly think we have the squad to challenge anyway. So I don't think that's the problem. Winning the title is a completely different question, because we're asking a player who couldn't score with the best of chances to then suddenly get you 20 plus goals a season. And I think that's really what it comes down to. When you think of Premier League title winning teams, it's usually the side who has a striker who's in form, scoring at least double digits in a season. And we haven't had that at Chelsea since probably Diego Costa days. So I think that's where we've got the issue.
So in your opinion, in terms of winning the league, if it was Timo Werner, that we can forget winning the league, but a challenge is possible with him. In terms of Werner himself, what do you think he's got to do to improve next season and really push on and obviously get a few more goals and really sort of lay down a marker in the Premier League?
Tough, isn't it? Because I think a lot of it's psychological. I don't know what else we do, because there's been no doubt he's been given enough chances to play games. I mean, that's for sure. We can't say that we haven't given him enough game time. Sometimes we've maybe tinkered too much with him playing on the left or playing as a number 9. So maybe we should just give him the options. Just say, well, you are. Sometimes that's what it needs. Sometimes it just needs, you're our first team striker, you're our number 9, and you're going to be our number 9 regardless. Sometimes that's what it needs. Other times, a bit of luck, sometimes to get on a run. But, I mean, he had enough decent chances last season to score easy goals. Like I said, it's not worrying me so much that because he is creating, but he's just not seeming to get that final product. And it concerns me, but I think he deserves another year. Whether he's first choice or second choice, and maybe the competition might help him, because he didn't really have any in his first season. So maybe it might help him to be a bit more on edge when it comes to, if a big name striker was to come in. But I certainly don't think, if we're playing Werner as a number 9, I can't see Chelsea winning the title.
How concerned would you then be, mate, having said that, heading into next season, if we didn't add any further options in the forward line? I mean, for me, I think that would be quite a big problem, because unless Werner's on his holidays after the Euros has suddenly found some shooting boots and is going to put 15 to 20 league goals in, I can't see anyone across that front line. For as good as Mason Mount's been, he's not exactly a prolific goal scorer. You'd be lucky if he got you 10 league goals. Ziyech doesn't seem to have done much. Hudson-Odoi, Pulisic, Kai Havertz, who has done well in a false 9. Again, these aren't sort of goal getters that are going to get. One of them might get you 10 league goals, but I think you struggle to get more than one delivering that for you. So how big a concern would that be for you, mate, if we go in with obviously no further additions?
Well, I don't think it's healthy for the squad anyway, because I think you need that sense of going again, even when you've reached the very pinnacle in football, which is winning the Champions League, which is what we've done. But goal scoring has been a problem since Frank took over, and even Thomas Tuchel came in. I mean, it wasn't like we were blitzing teams away with Thomas Tuchel. I mean, we tightened up the defence, which was great, but we were literally winning games by the odd goal. So goal scoring, number 9 regardless, has been an issue. So I do think we need to add, even if we for whatever reason don't get a centre forward, we do need to add creative additions to the squad, because like you said, mate, we haven't had someone who's got even in double digits. I mean, I think our top goal scorer last season was Jorginho. So someone who's taking up penalties to be a top goal scorer is not, it's not vintage. But maybe we might see a different Chelsea next season where we do win, almost back to the Mourinho days of 04-05, where we just won games by the odd goal and we do well that way. But I think it's always been a worry of mine that Chelsea, certainly in the last couple of seasons, haven't been vintage when it comes to the forward line and scoring goals. So,
I mean, yeah, as you said, we've had a problem with goal scoring. Not just the last couple of years, for a long time. Really in the last sort of 15 years, certainly since Mourinho first arrived. Other than Drogba and Diego Costa, we've struggled for a prolific number 9 for a lot of those years, and that is a major concern. Why do you think then we're struggling? Obviously, we've got a lot of creative players that I've mentioned before. Why do you reckon we're struggling to score goals and create chances in this system?
Well, the system, as you say, it relies heavily, if you're playing a 5 or a 3, it relies heavily on the fullbacks, and regardless of delivery, I don't think you're literally asking Chilwell and James to be contributing to the goal scorers, which essentially they're defenders. So I don't think the formation helps, and I think it's also a bit of a curse for Chelsea, isn't it? I just think there's something different about playing for Chelsea in that number 9 role that I don't, you can't really compare to a lot of other clubs, because even Manchester United and Arsenal, you could say they play quite expansive football, so they're going to get goals. But Chelsea, it's never really been vintage, other than maybe the odd, when Ancelotti, I think in his double year, we did have a record amount of matches where we scored 5+. We had a couple of 6s, a couple of 7s. I think we even had an 8 against Wigan on the final day. But really, yeah, like you said, mate, it goes way back. So it's not a Thomas Tuchel problem. I think it's more. But then, do we really care? I mean, I think obviously we want to see goals, and the more goals we score, the more likelihood of we are winning games. But I don't think Chelsea have ever been particularly that way. So I think there's plenty of players on the pitch that can score, but I definitely think we need to add, even if it's not in the forward line, because we need creativity.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think particularly, I mean, I liken it to England a lot. Gareth Southgate's England. In terms of, we're very solid at the back. We can score a goal, and then we can kind of, hold on and get a lot of 1-0 wins. But with the creative players we've got and the attacking talent, you'd like to sort of see something a little bit more expansive. But I suppose, I get, again, at the end of the day, from a fan's perspective, as long as we're winning football matches, I don't think it really matters that much. It only becomes a problem when you kind of stop winning and go on a bit of a poor run. But I mean, I've still struggled to fathom why we can't score that many goals, and why we, with the creative players we've got, struggle to sort of score more than 1 or 2 past teams. And I think for that reason, with Timo Werner, for as well as he's done, and let's be fair, he has been quite influential in a lot of important games. But when it comes down to it, like the chances he's missed, like everyone can be forgiven for missing, a couple of really clear chances. He's got about a highlights reel of clear chances that he should be sticking away. I don't know if it's a confidence thing, but I mean, just the last thing on this, how concerned would you be if we go into next season and then, first 5-6 games in the league, he still hasn't got off the mark?
Yeah, it becomes a problem. You obviously want your big signings to do well and settle in and get the goals early on. And we've actually got a really tough start, which it can work both ways. I mean, if we get a new signing in, but they end up coming quite late, it could hinder us just as much to get someone like a Haaland going in their first couple of games as it would Timo Werner, who's at least knows the system and knows how we play. So you can make cases for both, but I just think you either give him the number 9 role right now and say, you're going to be our forefront and give him 1 more year, or you say, actually, you're going to play on the left and we're going to bring in a 5-star striker who's ready made to go. And that's a decision that whether Chelsea can do financially, and a decision that Thomas Tuchel ultimately has to decide. But I think we can both agree, mate, that we are desperate for it. We're number 9, but just because we get Haaland in doesn't guarantee success. But I think what it does do is give us another dimension where we've got a player who offers us other things. So even if it doesn't work, we can alternate between the two. And, who knows, they could have a good relationship together. There's no reason why they can't play on the same side. But yeah, I'm just, ultimately, the bottom line is I'm concerned of any Chelsea team who, tend to do well, and then we don't build on that year by bringing in new fresh faces, because you need that just for an energy around the team. So that we need to get players through the door, and it's getting quite late now, which is my biggest concern.
And just one final thing, mate. If we can't get Erling Haaland or a big name striker in, would you like to see us go for someone of a little bit less quality just to get someone in through the door, or do you think we need to? Or do you think we can get away with leaving the forward options as they are?
Well, that's where I'm not a manager, and it's a manager's decision. What was a good, thought by you was maybe we don't get Haaland this summer, but if we had something in principle that guaranteed that he comes next season, I think then you start to look. Well, we could just give Werner the nod and say, you've got one season to save your Chelsea career. Really, if you do well, then there's going to be competition for places next season. And then we can look something on maybe a loan move or a free transfer for someone who's been there and done it. I don't know who those names are. I don't know if you maybe could shed light on possible solutions for that. But I think that would be a good thing going forward. Even if we can't get the Haaland deal done now, maybe bring him in next summer. But we've got something in principle. But what are the names that come to you if that was the case?
Obviously the Erling Haaland thing can't happen. I can't remember the guy's name, but there's a striker from Stuttgart who's been linked. He's had an okay season in the Bundesliga. Again, that would be probably on a level or just under sort of a Timo Werner quality. I'm not really sure if we need someone sort of a similar ilk to that. I don't know if we need to go from, like Haaland is, more of a kind of a bit of a bruising target man who's offers a good all-round game. I think the one thing we do lack at the top end of the pitch is a physical presence, which, when you look at the successful strikers we've had down the years, particularly Drogba and Costa, they've been able to bully centre-halves. I think centre-halves now, if they look, they're up against Timo Werner having an absolute field day in terms of a physicality perspective. I mean, really our most physical presence up top is Kai Havertz, and he's not really sort of a bruiser as such. So I don't know. I just don't know whether bringing in someone of a similar thing to what we've already got is what we need. I think we just desperately need someone who is a cut above what we've got, because, as I said, bringing in someone of a similar quality, is that really going to make much of a difference?
No, and I think what Chelsea mustn't do is make a mistake of, accepting that Haaland deal's over and then going kind of like for like and spending that mid-range amount of money for a long-term contract, and then accepting that Haaland's not coming and getting in someone who, again, is just going to go through the motions and not do it for us. But like you said, mate, there's nothing wrong with, maybe we could do a City approach where we play Havertz as a false nine and maybe not play a recognised striker. I mean, I don't know if that's an option either, but
I think that would be a massive gamble as well. Look, Havertz had a good end to the season, and he had a pretty strong Euros with Germany. But I don't think I'd be particularly confident going into the season with him as as our main option as false nine. But again, you just never know. There might be a few surprises, but yeah, I think as we've said, mate, I think it's absolutely vital that we do get a proven goal scorer in. And I really don't know what we're going to do if we can't get that top bracket of striker in. It'll be interesting to see what direction the club goes in. But yeah, that's just myself and George's thoughts, guys, on whether Chelsea can challenge/win the title with Timo Werner as the main man, and whether or not we should bring someone in if we can't get the top target in Erling Haaland. So guys, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know what you think. As always, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll catch you in the next one.